Ovdje je znači intervju koji traje 4 sata, preko 4 sata sa Sašom Rileyem. To mu je ime dao čovjek koji ga je posvojio. Znači tu vam je cijeli intervju njegov. Idemo poslušati dio barem.
And I, in terms of being able to get into a format in terms of an affidavit, whether we look at getting help from the International Criminal Court, because obviously what, you and I have discussed already, there's definitely a whole whack of crimes that have been getting committed by a lot of folks, and is even a case where there could be crimes against humanity charges in regards to Trump.
Da.
So, and what else I'd like to do is I'd like to look at whether you would be okay with, me like transcribing and then publishing something. I publish newsletters selectively. I have a newsletter called Outlaws of Chivalry I publish once in a while. And I was looking at perhaps publishing there, if you're okay, in terms of how it could help us in terms of getting the right legal support in terms of the International War Court.
I am for whatever puts a light on this, because in my mind, the powers that be are already aware of my position on it and aware that I have spoken up. And, the more light that is shed on there, I don't think that I'm incurring any risk, except for some maybe lunatic that wants to be a soldier for Donald Trump, because they are a little crazy, they're a little brainwashed. But I don't mind whatever would bring a little bit more light to this, particularly the stuff. If we can get some of this stuff verified, and I know that me speaking up is one thing, but then the verification process, is important too. And I have read about software where, facial recognition software that taps into the banks of known cataloged child pornography stuff. The films that they had me make can be verified. It's not something that I can go online, but I am confident that it's there, because somebody that I served with in the Army got put out of the Army for child pornography, and my chain of command talked to me and they said, hey, some of these images, some of the films or whatever that he had looked just like you. And that was the first time I think I had ever talked to anybody about having done those films. And I told them, yes, when I was a child, I had to do those things.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about that circumstance. Like, so you were in the Army. What years were you in the Army then?
This would have been my second time in the Army. I rejoined in 2002.
Yeah.
And I retired in 2016. I was in from 91 to 98 as well. So I did a little over 21 years. But the time frame that they pulled me into the office and discussed that would have been around 2008, 2009 time frame. It was in garrison, so it was between deployments.
Yeah.
So around that time is when they talked to me. And I can just remember, telling them that I knew it was out there was nothing I could do about it, and thinking that there was really no way to go about, anything at that point. I didn't know what I could do about it, if anything.
Yeah, so it was from what our emails, it was one of the fellow soldiers that was caught with a bunch of child pornography, and then your commanding officer pulled you into the office to go through, and they'd seen you in the films?
I did not look at any of the films. All they said was, hey, we had to look at some of this stuff, and one of those people looks just like you. And that's the first time that I had, I think, ever really spoken about it. And I said, yes, those are probably me. But I did not personally see them. but they described something that I knew that I had been a part of.
Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Here's what it was.
Yeah.
They put me in, I can remember that First Sergeant Bayless was kind of red-faced, and he said, "Have you ever made a movie with a black girl?" And you know, that obviously was, I mean, I'm not a movie star, so obviously that's a very odd question, and I knew exactly what he was talking about when he said that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yes. So he said, okay, well, we have found some images that are of a sexually explicit nature on another soldier's computer, I think, and they look like you. And I said, well, they are me. So he said, if you look underage, I think from that was part of their investigation to confirm that the images of the participants in these films were underage.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that was just a secondary verification that I was only 12 or 13 at the time of that film, maybe even
12
less.
godina,
So,
dijete.
and obviously, I'm not an adult, and even when I was an adult at 18 or 19, I still looked young. So obviously, at 11, 12, whatever I was in that film, I would not have looked like a mature, an adult, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more, I think, for confirmation that these images were of children. So I don't remember if he actually got court-martialed or if he just got UCMJ, which has just been a lower grade of punishment, but I do know that he was chaptered out of the military already. I think he might have had to do a little jail.
Ma eto kako se ne može ništa sakriti.
I can't even recall the soldier's name that got caught with it. I just knew he was an NCO, a staff sergeant.
And was there did anyone else ever talk to you about the films again? Did they ever talk? Did they ever infer that there was any further investigation in terms to when the films were produced? Did they ask you anything about who was involved, or did they?
No.
No.
They didn't go into any legality other than the prosecution of the soldier with the images. So that we have military is a little bit different than civilian, you know.
Eto, u svakom slučaju zataškano je, međutim nećete zataškat, ne možete pred Bogom ništa zataškat, vidite kak je izašlo van. Ovdje vam je cijeli njegov intervju, 4 sata traje, stavit ću link, pa ko si hoće preslušat sve, nek si presluša. Uglavnom, Trumpavo čudovište je tu upleteno, ma to je cijela, ma fuj. Znači, mreža Sotona, to su Sotone, to su antikristi, nema drugog imena, nema drugog opisa za to zlo. Znači, to je užas, dno dna ljudskog.